Afternoon. We want to get acquainted with George Berkeley, 18th century British philosopher, and with his idealism. Idealism in the metaphysical sense. That is to say that all that exists is of the nature of mind, immaterial spirit. In order to get a handle on what he is doing and why, let me say something first of all about his overall philosophical project. And let me start that by indicating that he was a very practically minded man. A bishop in the Anglican Church in Ireland. He tried to establish a school for American Indians on the islands of Bermuda, which never got off the ground because of financing, and because he didn't realize they had no natural water supply, depend on rainwater. So instead he settled in Newport, Rhode Island, and to this day you can see his house there, where the local Berkeley Society will provide you with tours that will tell you all you ever wanted to know and far more besides about Berkeley, his life and his doings, and his vegetable garden. He was interested in developing some sort of a medical panacea from tar water. Such was the state of medicine in his day. But I say those things to indicate that he was a man of affairs, something of an activist with all sorts of socially related projects. And now I go on to tell you that he denies the existence of matter. In fact, one person, a man by the name of J.O. Wisdom, has tried to do a posthumous psychoanalysis of George Berkeley in a book called The Unconscious Origins of Berkeley's Philosophy, in which he sees the venture with tar water and his idealist metaphysic as equally delusive attempts at finding a panacea for our physical woes, treat them with medicine and deny the existence of materiality. Due to some pathological aversion that he had to dirt and excretion, such as the psychoanalysis posthumously of George Berkeley. Take it with all the pinches of salt that it deserves. In reality, Berkeley was very much concerned about the world of ideas in his time. His was a day in which materialism was on the rise. Not always the more religiously benign materialism of Thomas Hobbes, but often associated with atheism. And in addition, the deism of the day was built upon a foundation of Newtonian physics. For if nature operates according to its own fixed mechanical laws, then a God actively involved and immanent in nature becomes superfluous. And so deism was the major religious alternative to Christianity in his day. And all this concerned the learned bishop. His project was related to that. Now, how is he going to do something about that? Tar water is no solution. So what George Berkeley did was to consider carefully John Locke's epistemology. John Locke's epistemology. You know the story, that the mind has as the object of its thinking what it is the only thing the mind thinks: ideas. Ideas of sensation and reflection. Ideas of sensation involving primary and secondary qualities. Primary qualities having some objective reality in the matter, whose substratum is, according to Locke, something we know not what. But the point is that ideas are, some of them at least, representations. It's a representative theory of knowledge, representations of material objects. Now, seeing this scheme, Berkeley's strategy becomes relatively simple. Namely, to deny that there is any objectively real representation of our ideas of primary qualities. You see. To deny that you can break through this cognitive barrier and get to what is extramental, outside the mind. Locke thought you could do it by causal inference. What's the cause of my sensations? And that's the sort of thing, therefore, that Berkeley questions. So that whereas Locke is a realist about materiality, Berkeley is what nowadays we would call an anti-realist about matter, you see, denying the independent reality of matter. That's characteristic, of course, of metaphysical idealism. Because by definition, if an idealist says that all that exists is immaterial, then there is nothing material that exists. So idealism is a kind of anti-realism about matter. And we'll run across other views that question the reality of matter that become known as phenomenalism. Phenomenalism. That's to say, assert that all we know are appearances of things like material objects. But whether in reality there is matter is another question. Phenomenalism. Now, if you like, idealism is one subset of phenomenalism. That is to say, the idealist says all we have is the ideas, the appearances. There is no matter as such. It's a kind of phenomenalism. But there are other kinds of phenomenalism besides idealism. And we'll see that Immanuel Kant is some sort of a phenomenalist. And characteristically, all of 19th century German idealism is phenomenalist. And the idealist movements which blossomed throughout Europe and America in the late... You see. In fact, if you think back to the ancients, Plotinus, yeah, really he's a phenomenalist too, because matter has no independent existence. There are souls, world of ideas, but as you sink lower and lower on the chain of emanations, the hierarchy of being, you get down towards non-being, and there is no substratum of reality down there called matter. It's non-being. You see. And so the Platonic tradition, likewise, is potentially a kind of idealism. It's certainly a kind of phenomenalism. You see. Now, go one step further with Berkeley's project. The thing which has encouraged the rise of materialism, and with it the rise of deism, the rise of atheism, is, unintentionally on the man's part, Newton's physics. Because what Newton is asserting in the mechanistic physics that he systematized in his day, what he is asserting is the independent reality, independent of whether we're aware of it or not, the independent reality of matter, of force, causal power, of uniform absolute space and uniform absolute time. Those are the key, essential, formative concepts for Newtonian physics, for mechanistic physics. Newton assumes that all four of these are objectively real. Berkeley argues that all four of them are objectively unreal. Now, if you can pull matter, physical force, space and time out from under the materialist's feet, he can't stay standing. You see? So essentially what Berkeley does is to pull the rug out from under their feet, and materialism collapses. That at least is his project. That's his strategy. The cause of the difficulty is the mechanistic science that emerged with the scientific revolution. It was a difficulty that we've seen emerging long time before, methodologically with Bacon, in terms of the philosophical position built on it, with Hobbes, with Descartes, with Spinoza, you see. Leibniz was one who fought it, denying that matter in the Newtonian sense is the ultimate real, the basic stuff, substratum, you see. Because for Leibniz, the basic stuff, what he calls monads, are units of force, units of energy. He was proposing a kind of realism, but a realism not about matter, but about what we would call energistic physics. Not mechanistic physics, but energistic physics. You see. Well, Berkeley then is facing this kind of situation. His strategy is obviously suggested to him by Locke's epistemology, obviously so, so that we usually think of the history of British empiricism as moving from Locke to Berkeley, and then on to David Hume. His method, therefore, is going to be thoroughly empiricist. With Locke, he's going to insist that the only resources we have for natural knowledge is the ideas that comprise experience. Simple ideas. And with Locke and with Descartes, he's going to affirm that the empirical faculties which God has given to us are quite trustworthy if we use them aright, if we confine our assertions to that for which we have evidence. So Berkeley, if you like, is an evidentialist. Locke's kind of an evidentialist. Proportion your beliefs to the evidence. The difference between Berkeley and Locke is that Berkeley doesn't think there is evidence, sufficient evidence, for the existence of matter, physical force, absolute space, absolute time. Why not? Well, that's where we make the transition from his project to thinking about the principles on which his case rests. Let me pause, though. Any comments, questions about the project?
Well,
right.
This is something from a little earlier. When you drew the Kantian excerpt, the excerpt
yes.
And rationalism, or continental rationalism speaking on one side, British empiricism, I thought it was that the rationalism continued on in German idealism.
That's right.
And then the empiricism continued on in phenomenalism.
Yes.
But what did you just say that idealism under phenomenalism?
Okay, let me clarify. Yeah, what we have done was to diagram this way the development of continental rationalism from Descartes, Spinoza and Leibniz until the point where Kant, around 1800, is forced to bring to bear the thinking of David Hume as well, awakened from those rationalist slumbers, as he puts it, by reading David Hume. Bacon, Hobbes, Locke, Berkeley, Hume, you see. Now, I just said that, or you just said rather, that empiricist trend continues in the phenomenalism of the 19th century, yes. And my reference there is to people like the French philosopher Auguste Comte, and John Stuart Mill, you see, and subsequently 20th century logical positivism. Yes, they're all the continuation of that British empiricist tradition. But lo and behold, what we find in 19th century German thought, French as well, is the development of a metaphysical idealism out of the roots of continental rationalism. And you find that a little bit confusing, understandably, because Berkeley is also an idealist, but he's in the empiricist tradition. So what? You can be an idealist with two different epistemological traditions. You can be a rationalist who's an idealist, you can be an empiricist who's an idealist. No problem there, if you're ingenious enough with what you do with it. But the other thing that confuses you is that there are two kinds of phenomenalism. So what? You can have phenomenalism on an empirical basis and phenomenalism on a rationalist basis. Yeah, you see. Now, to, however, respond to your curiosity, how come the rationalists become idealists? Well, rationalism is talking about the intellectual resources, this kind of rationalism, the intellectual resources innate within the human mind, innate knowledge, a priori knowledge. Now, you move from the age of reason into the 19th century, and the emphasis is upon innate resources, not for knowledge, but for creative self-expression. You see? So what you get here is an idealism that is more of the romanticist sort than of the Enlightenment sort. You see? An idealism that depends upon the recognition of the inner realities, the springs of activity and action and thought which there are within the human spirit. Whereas for Berkeley as an empiricist, no, his idealism doesn't stress the creative resources of the human spirit. It stresses the passivity of the human mind as a recipient of certain kinds of sense stimuli. Very different picture. Does that help? Okay, that's a jump ahead in anticipation, but don't be confused by the fact that you can sometimes hold similar positions for different reasons. You see? Yeah, there's not always just one line of argument for a position. There might be two utterly incompatible lines of argument, but for the same position. Yeah. Take republicanism as an example. There are all sorts of incompatible arguments for a position like that. To make the position right or wrong. It's just that if you're starting at one point, you may happen to come out at the same conclusion. David? Berkeley's position as an idealist is that matter does not exist. All that exists is minds and mental states, ideas. Yeah. The phenomenalist may not be as assertive as that. The phenomenalist may say all we know is phenomena. Yeah. And that's more characteristic of John Stuart Mill. Yeah.
So if he disproves materialism, then we can have a better argument for idealism.
Yeah, you see, if it turns out that there is no evidence for the existence of matter, then our ideas of sensation must come from another source. And in brief, what he's going to tell us is that since ideas are mental things, they must have mental causes. The cause must be like the effect. If my mind is not the cause of my ideas of sensation, another mind must be the cause of my ideas of sensation. And since we all have essentially the same ideas of sensation about the same objects viewed from the same viewpoint under the same conditions, there must be some supreme mind giving us all those ideas of sensation. And he has a causal argument for the existence of God. You see, and God has to do this all the time, so it has to be theism rather than deism. Oh, that's clever. Yeah. You know, the initial problem, getting a hold on Berkeley that students had in introductory courses, in 101 particularly, is crediting the fact that somebody could deny the existence of matter. You see? Now, I'd like to think that you're beyond that. I'd like to think that you're beyond saying, you mean my hand is an illusion? No, Berkeley never says it's an illusion. You see? I think it was the famous essayist Johnson who said he was going to refute the learned bishop and kick the rock and went away holding his tongue and said, that pain was real! You see? To which Berkeley replied, yes, it's what we call, quote, real, because it was an involuntary kind of pain. Now, at the same time, there are voluntary kinds of pains as you imagine the idea. Yeah, but that was one cause. The only question is, what's the cause of the pain? What's the cause of this involuntary idea of pain that you have? Yeah. And so, it's not a silly position. It's a well-measured, serious position. I still don't like it. But, as you know, religious thinkers, not only in the Judeo-Christian tradition, but in Eastern traditions, have often adopted metaphysical idealism as what they find to be the best way for talking about the ultimate reality of the divine as a material being. Yeah. In fact, when Spinoza said that everything is God and God is everything, weren't you wishing he would say that it was immaterial? He was going to be a pantheist. Come on, be an idealist. And maybe he disappointed you in being more a materialist. But there are natural affinities between metaphysical idealism and theism, pantheism, religions in those traditions. So there's a long tradition, particularly in British thought, of Christian idealism, particularly of a Platonic sort. Well, remember I mentioned the Cambridge Platonism of the 17th century. And that sort of thing has kept recurring ever since. Okay, what about Berkeley's principles, then, on which this kind of argument rests? Well, keep in mind what the problems are which he is addressing. That he's trying to work with Locke's epistemology to other conclusions than Locke's conclusions. And so his first move is to argue against John Locke's theory of abstract ideas. Okay? That's why we're careful to take time to spell out Locke's theory of abstract ideas. That's crucial. This, of course, is dealing with the philosophy of language. And so in the opening introductory section of the material that we have from Berkeley, he talks about language. And he talks about abstract ideas. And he argues for a nominalist position.